Hello. I love my friend Tony for many reasons. Amongst them was because he grew up in the same place as I did, Southend, when it was more gaudy and proud of itself than today. And he walked along the same beaches as I did, searching for flat stones or skimmers, as we called them, to throw into the waves. He even hung out in the sinful caves of the Golden Mile, playing on slot machines and avoiding the managers who threw out the under-10s like him and me out. Probably around the same time, a decade earlier than me, he was taken to see his first Southend United game, playing in those days in the heady heights of the old 3rd Division South. Amazingly, he survived the early and challenging experience of how not to play football and remained a Shrimpers fan for life. As our 3rd Division stablemates, Brighton and Hove Albion, the Seagulls of course, rose through the ranks to the Premier League, we would maintain a fierce pride in the fact that on the 6th of November 2006, Freddie Eastwood, note even his surname was a district in Southend, scored a miracle goal in the 27th minute at Roots Hall to dump Manchester United out of the Carling Cup and progress to the quarter-finals. This was after 20 years of Alex Ferguson's management and with 10 internationals on the pitch, including Ronaldo and Rooney. We both own Shrimpers scars, but were afraid to wear them. Apparently they are now collector's items. How did Tony and I meet? Well, that's a story in itself. It wasn't in Southend, despite having both been to Southend High Grammar School. Tony, a decade before me. In 1982, Tarring Boys' School in Worthing became a mixed comprehensive, and the first intake of girls included Elizabeth Holmes, a bright young thing with red curly hair with a keen interest in history. That was my subject as a novice teacher at school. To break the day, or even the lesson in, I would run through some humorous anecdotes from the weekend. On one occasion, I must have mentioned my hometown because Liv put up her hand and told the class that her dad was also from the glittering Monte Carlo of the Thames estuary. At the next parents' evening, I met Tony for the first time and compared our Southend war wounds. As Tony had attended Southend High School at least a decade before me, I was keen to ask him if he had shared a few bike shed cigarettes with the likes of Viv Stanjul and Digby Fairweather, who had made the school so much more interesting in the 60s. I think he would have been more impressed if I'd asked him about famous cricketers. It was the start of a 40-year friendship based on shared politics, concern for the climate, a lively interest in history, and a mutual disappointment in our football team. When I first married in 1985, the Holmes family attended as they now had 2 reasons to form close ties. My wife Lindy had lived next door to them for 10 years and had babysat Liv, and I'd met her at the school as a trainee. When Liv later brought young Michael into the world, I stood alongside Tony as a proud, significant adult, and this further spliced me into this special family. When I married Natasha in 2014, the Holmes were invited to the wedding, and we both regard them as a second family. Tony was a special man who had the knack of putting you at ease, and then taking a real interest in what you had to say. We talked for hours. We had so much to celebrate and to commiserate about. At the time, he was the youngest man that I'd ever met who had managed to retire at a ridiculously early age. I used to josh him about it, but now I'm glad, because it meant he had plenty of time to spend with his beloved family and with people like me who were lucky enough to be friends with him. I'll miss you, Tony, but I'm sure we'll meet again at the end of Southend Pier, maybe throwing a few crabs back into the sea. God bless you.